Hey guys, Robert and Ingrid here. We just got out seeing Rambo, Last Blood. First, want to apologize for the lighting. It got darker and dark over here, and gotta make do with what we've got. But now we're both newbies to the series. It's pretty much our first one, right?
Yep, I basically knew a little bit about as much as I knew for pop culture osmosis. It's like, oh, that's a movie where a guy beats a bunch of people up.
Yep, and I knew at least enough that it was also about a guy who has PTSD and everything, and always fighting the rage within him. And, well, first I want to make it clear this is going to be a spoiler review, alright? Because we got a lot of talk. Well, not a lot, because actually it was a breeze of a movie.
Yeah, it was actually pretty short and sweet.
Short and sweet, but it feels, even though we've never seen the other movies, this felt, from what I already know about the others, this felt like a cap off.
It seemed like a lot of the people who were coming out of the theater got that impression too.
Exactly. In fact, funny note, we've met a guy who actually was a Vietnam vet who saw the movie, and he was saying it's a good movie. The reviews, ignore what the reviews say. These are the people who just went in more for the agenda and didn't care how good the movie was. And yes, get out of the way, there is pot shots about the Mexico and all that. And basically, having been Mexico, they're bad guys. They are the bad guys in this one, big time, the cartels anyway. And there is a jab at the wall where John pulls right up to the wall, which is just this barbed wire fence. Vroom, rolls right over it. No one there to stop him. I thought that was a chuckle, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's just like...
Now, it starts off with John. We are introduced to his niece, right? Yeah, his niece, who's been like a daughter to him. And it's been 11 years since the Rambo, the last movie, Rambo 4. And basically, he's made a good life. What was her name again?
I forget exactly, sorry.
Yeah, no, I knew the name up until after what happened to her, and it just goes right in my mind. But I'm not saying she's forgettable, but she is a plot point. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
But she basically, her father ditched them after her mother died, and he's been the one raising her, and John's been the one raising her. But she's always had this feeling like, why? And she's a pure good person. That's why she cannot accept the fact that her father was just that simple. And she kept arguing with him, saying, it can't be that, no one's that simple. He is that simple. And John, you could tell he's enjoying what he has raising her, right? Yep. And but then she decides, a friend of hers contacts him and then says, I found your father, come on down. And she sneaks off. Despite, that was the one dumb part I have to say. I mean, I get she's supposed to be pure, but it felt like, okay, I won't go. Next morning, arguing with her, I guess her aunt, in relation to her mother. And then it's just like, it's like, I thought we talked about this. Yeah, well, I slept it over and I saw it over again. I'm like, that felt a little stupid, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, at least like the movie that I immediately compared this one to in my mind with Taken, at least with Taken, it was just kind of like...
overprotective dad and,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like, Dad, relax. And the mom, unfortunately, wasn't helping at all. But in this case, no. She was being stupid and stubborn and naive. I won't say stupid. She was definitely being stubborn and naive, though. Definitely naive. But she goes down there. Her friend, you could already tell something was off with her friend. And then beats her dad. Dad first comes off warmingly, but he's like, I didn't give a fuck about you. It's like, wow, why did he switch all of a sudden? From being all like, well, look at you, to, I don't give a fuck, get out. That felt like a little too much of a switch, wouldn't you say? Like,
yeah, that was definitely a bit jarring. Like,
it was. It felt like, okay, we get he's an asshole, but why did he seem to come off like he cared at first? And then after she's like, I realized I didn't give a fuck about you two. It's like, what the hell? I mean, again, he's supposed to be this uncaring person, but he didn't come off that way at first. You thought like...
Yeah, you thought that it was going to be like a little bit different. It's just like,
maybe he did change, but it's like, nope. That felt a little off. I mean, again, this is not a perfect movie, obviously.
Yeah.
But then she then goes, she's upset. Her friend then takes her, and basically her friend sells her out to the cartels. And basically gets her, into the sex trading business. So John, of course, comes down there to find her. gets ambushed, and good lord, that actually, I did like it, because that's one thing I like about this, because he's from, it's Nam, ties into Vietnam with Rambo. What I like best about it was is that it felt like he was in the jungle in that brief bit when he's, getting ambushed. Did it feel like he was being ambushed? Like you see all these different people looking at him and they're communicating with him.
Oh no,
Yeah,
this is going to go south
very
fast.
But he's going through these tight corridors, and you feel like, he's in the jungle. A concrete jungle, but still a jungle. That's the only time where we get that feeling of a jungle, at least in the city. Then he's ambushed, and because he ticked off the cartel leader, one of them decides, leave it and tell his brother, leave a mark in your face, go find his niece of his, and make an example of her. And he's saying, I'm going to let you live. The other brother's completely not having any of it. But it's like, I'm going to let you live so that you can live within your heart what you did. Obviously having no idea who the fuck he's dealing with, obviously. Yep. Who would? It's not like Rambo's like a well-known person. And, well, John recovers thanks to a journalist whose sister was killed by the cartel. And for what we had of her, I thought she did very effective.
Yeah, I thought that for a little bit she did appear that she was a pretty good character.
She did, for what little we had of her. I mean, again, the Western one thing is, everything is meant to just service the plot. If that's the biggest flaw you have, every person was meant to service the plot.
Yeah.
And it was annoyingly so at that, when you really look, now that we think back about it. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's just like, it definitely did feel like it was just trying to go in a specific direction, and it's just like... Each person was there,
like, we need someone to save him, and then have a reason to get, to point him in the direction of the cartel, and why. So she's a journalist whose sister was killed, and all that, yada, yada. We needed someone to get him, John and his revenge fix. But again, despite that criticism, it was all effective.
Yeah.
It's enough, it's there that you will notice it, and it might... If someone complains about it, I would not hold it against them if they complain. I didn't care that it was obvious, because it was done so well. But then John gets there, saves her, gets her out of there, and she dies. Unfortunately, from a drug overdose. That hit me like a freight train.
Yeah, it was just like, you could just like see the life leaving her, and it's just like...
And she's trying to struggle. She is struggling with it. And he's trying to say like, but now, of course, we get exposition dump in that, but it felt like something that a guy like John would do. He'd be all like, you were the one thing that showed me there was good in this world still. And then right after he says that, she's gone. Okay, we kind of saw that coming. As soon as he says that, you're like...
Yeah, it's just like, even if you just didn't really know anything else, it's just like, this feels like too early in the movie for this to be happening.
Yep, dead. And, we need a reason for his revenge. But I do like it how he keeps his rage contained at first. He doesn't smash everything. He doesn't do that like you think he would. No. He knows what he's going to do the moment she died. Yep. He knew what he was going to do. And then the aunt, she leaves saying, I'm going to live her. I'm not going to stop being sad until I'm dead. Which I felt John understands that all too well. Then he starts saying, as you put it, Home Alone for adults. But I look at it more of a case of where he's bringing the jungle home. That's what I look at it. He's bringing the jungle home, and he's setting up all these traps in the area. Convenient that he has an underground tunnels, by the way, but okay, I'll roll with it.
Yeah.
But
they were set up for earlier in the movie.
They were? Oh, I didn't...
Yeah, I got an issue where we got into the theater a bit late because I accidentally left my debit card at a restaurant.
Don't worry, wasn't that bad of a delay, but yeah.
But yeah, they did set up the tunnels earlier on in the movie.
All right, I missed that. But still, then you have that, but after he gets that, he goes down and he kills the cartel that left, the brother that left the mark on him. And this is another flaw I have. They have one that's clearly the more somber brother who's more calmer, like saying, I'm going to let you live. The more, how should I put it?
Unhinged.
Subtle. No. I said the less unhinged one.
Oh, the less unhinged.
Yeah. He was more subtle in his revenge and his attitude. And you have the more unhinged brother who's like, oh no, we're going to do things my way. He gets killed off unceremoniously off screen. And we see his head chopped off. Although I do love how John then just drops it right on the road.
Yeah.
That felt a little... like, that was for him personally. But then, the now hinged brother became unhinged completely and utterly. And that felt... I get why. He's the one who ordered that his niece to get overdosed and everything. I get that, but it should have been the unhinged brother at the end. It would have been much more appropriate. I think they went the wrong way with that because from that point on, the sane brother became the insane brother then.
It's just like, well, what was the point of making them different then?
Right. And then, but then they come running. Now, they don't explain how he knows, but given how he's in the cartels and everything, he probably forgot the information. You know what I mean? Like John Rambo, he probably looked it up, found his address. You didn't need to see that stuff. It was like not important, just boom.
Yeah.
And then, they pull up there, and then right away, John sets off the first trap, take out any of the cars that weren't going on the main road. That was brilliant. And the whole thing then, it's his strategy. He just lays every trap, and one by one, taken down. I do like how they don't set up how many there are, so you don't know how many are down there.
Yeah, it's just like you just see a bunch of cars, and you have no idea how many people are in those cars.
Exactly. So that's why we keep seeing more like, oh, there was more. And I do also like it, how they set up, he could have taken on the main guy at any point. And he's like, no, I want him last. And then he puts on some music to play. But there's a point for the music. It's to be distracting. And each time he takes them down, he then puts them out of their misery. I actually like that too. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to let you just suffer. Boom.
Yeah.
If they weren't instantly dead, he makes sure they're dead. I like that as well. And then he just makes it down, and then he then turns up. He does get shot though a few times, and then he leaves the guy, turns off the power, and then says, I'm gonna rip your heart out and everything. And goes the guy like, fuck you. Again, this should have been the unhinged brother because it felt like that's what it sounded more like. Then he's like, you want to live? Follow the lights. As he hits a switch that not only turns on a bunch of lights that leads him out, but also sets off brings out the whole tunnel. The entire tunnel. Guy gets out. John then takes him out with his arrow and then cuts him open and rips his heart out. And I mean, it's a finish, a fatality.
If my own personal thinking looks exactly like a visceral attack from Bloodborne. That's what. Now, of course, we've all got our own experiences.
Yeah. And then he then sits on a chair and just recovers. Now, we do see him and then get off on a horse and take off, so he's still alive. But they could have just ended right there with him dying of his wounds right there. Mission accomplished. And that was the end of the movie. I mean, overall, I know I just summarized the whole thing, but yeah, besides what we were just talking about as we went over, what else do you have to say?
All I can say is that I just kind of went in knowing basically nothing about it, and what I basically got was, I guess I expected something that was like a lot more of like a mindless beat 'em up, and what I got was Taken with a sadder ending and a bit more gore.
Yep, and more. And yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Although, and I would say though again, but it was still a good movie. You don't have any. And you guys say though that last climax was fitting. It was a bit. The camera working could have done a bit better, but I thought it was, based on where we knew most of the stuff was set up. We were just like, oh. Especially that one guy got those 2 blades in the face.
Ouch.
Yeah. Like, the audience, there were people actually applauding and everything. And the whole time we're going, yeah. It wasn't a packed theater. Before what we had was still lively.
Yeah, so clearly the people are enthusiastic about the movie.
Exactly. No one's saying bullshit or anything. No, they were like, even at the end, they applauded because they felt like mission accomplished. He won. And yeah, that's it. Again, this was the final movie. It's worthy of being the last blood. Because, I mean, it is so sad. It is both awesome and yet sad.
Yeah, all I can say is if you want a way to make me want to cry instantly, just give me a sappy story. Give me a sappy daddy-daughter anything.
And I actually cried after he told the aunt, and she was so upset.
Yeah.
I actually did cry, and I really cried. The last time I cried was in Avengers Endgame, and that was more worthy. This one felt like they just, I felt a little manipulated, yes, but at the same time, it just felt like they got the acting just right. And I looked through the cast list. There's almost no known actors besides Stallone. Most of them are like bit actors or actors who have been in certain movies. They were so effective. They were clearly hired not for their star power, but for how well they could portray everything. And again, the aunt. I don't know who played her, but she was perfect.
Yeah, it's just like I could completely believe that this was just the aunt of somebody who knew that.
It was like a mother figure to her, because this girl was like a daughter to her. And like right at the beginning, when she was arguing, even saying John was the closest to her real father and all that, and you could just so tell she's like, "Don't go." Like even saying, "Your friend," she's talking to her friend. I was so glad when she left after seeing what happened. Yeah, which I gotta say, I loved how John threatened that girl, and she's like, "Let me go, you fuck!" Chunk the knife right in the table. You're like, "Oh crap!"
I'm not messing around.
Exactly, and she was just like, "Ooh," and he's like, "Look up." You're just like, she dead meat. She dead meat. And she gets off scot-free by comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, though, back to, with the aunt, though, but yeah, when she found out, it was just something about, you see him, her coming, and he's like, "Wait, don't." Walks up to her, she's crying. It's the way she runs to the car. It felt like something like a real grieving mother figure would do. Just that little run to see her in the car, and then she's like, hits the car. Like, no. I don't know why. It was just the subtlety of the performance. Again, yes, it was a bit manipulative because you didn't have much build up for it, but that's good performance. If you can get that emotion with so little.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you felt during that moment. I might have been just crying like a baby for no reason,
I mean, I was definitely tearing up around that whole segment, not gonna lie, because, yeah, I got a soft spot for daddy-daughter relationships.
Oh, I know. But again, it was when she found out, that's when it hit me. I mean, it was already hitting me when she died, but then at that point, I don't know, just, again, the acting, I think, is what sold it on me. Well, that's not much else to say. It's kind of getting late, so we got to get going. So, what would you rate this?
I think I would maybe give it something like a 7.5 out of 10.
I was thinking that too. It's not a perfect movie. Like I said, there's a lot of glaring flaws. It is a little paint by the numbers, but again, the acting saved it from that, I think. The acting definitely saved it, a few of the flaws notwithstanding. And if this was Rambo's last hurrah, his last mission, it was personal. It brought it back full circle by doing it back in the States. And it felt like it was a worthy final mission because, well, like I just said, it was personal. So, no idea what I'm going to do. Well, sorry, car with the high beams on. So, not much else to say. Catch you all tomorrow. See ya.